The Suldam and Damane are positioned on the tower. High Lord Turok orders his army to find the horn but is confronted by Rand. Isharmail appears, knocking Egwene out when she tries to channel. 3,000 years ago, a legendary battle unfolded. At the Eye of the World, Luz Theron Telamon, known as the Dragon, led a group of male Aes Sedai to seal away Isharmail, the most dangerous of the Dark One's generals. With the Forsaken captured and the Dark One locked behind unbreakable Quendalar, it seemed hope had prevailed. But the cost was great. The world was shattered and the truth of that day was lost to history. Now in the present, previously in Season 1, Moiraine and Rand al'Thor arrive at the same place, unaware of the ancient power buried beneath their feet.
We have no idea.
When Rand touches the ancient symbol of the Aes Sedai, he's pulled into a dream, his greatest desire made real. A quiet life with Egwene, peace, love, a future. But it's all an illusion crafted by the Dark One, who tempts Rand with the power to shape the world to his will.
How do I make it, bro?
As Moiraine tries to wake him, Isharmail manifests, effortlessly blocking her attack and cutting her off from the One Power.
The One Power is there. Not quite touch it.
In a moment of clarity, Rand chooses not his own desires, but the freedom of others. He strikes, seemingly destroying the Dark One. But the ancient seal cracks.
I did it.
Moiraine realizes they've accidentally released the Dark One's chief lieutenant, Isharmail, and warns
That this wasn't the last battle.
only the beginning. As Rand disappears into the Blight to protect the world from the madness growing inside him,
I can't touch this source.
Moiraine, now powerless, stands beside Lan with the world on the brink of a new age. And then a new threat emerges. Off the coast of Fam, a mysterious enemy called the Shan-Chan arrives. Led by brutally trained channelers known as Damane, controlled by their Suldam handlers, they unleash devastating power. A towering tsunami crashes toward the shore, heralding a force determined to conquer the world. Welcome to Cephastok Movie Recaps. Today we delve into the details of The Wheel of Time full Season 2 recap. If you're new to this channel, please do subscribe and let us know where you're watching from in the comments section. Your support is greatly appreciated, my dear friend. Thank you.
Hi, Lord Turok.
The series begins at night, as a tinker-garbed girl plays outside a star-shaped structure. Artifacts lie nearby, one marked with an Aes Sedai sigil. Trollocs approach from the trees. Roaring they charge. The girl hides beneath a table where 12 masked figures sit. One speaks of the dragon reborn being revealed as Rand.
Excuse me?
Isharmail gently calms her, saying he's a chosen but others call him a forsaken, and leads her away. Silently, Paden Fane steps forward, revealing himself as one of the Dark Friends. Outside, the Trolloc stands still. Isharmail lifts the girl, telling her they're not evil, just hungry. He gently touches one and it responds calmly. The girl follows. A Trolloc leans in and she no longer seems afraid. Elsewhere, at Tiffin's well, Moiraine hauls 2 buckets of water uphill, her signature blue absent. Reaching a modest building, she fills a bath, washes her clothes and then herself. Attempting the familiar motion to warm the water, one she used with Lan in the 2 rivers, nothing happens. Her powers fail her again. The cold seeps in. Alone in silence, she lowers her head, the strength slipping from her composure. Tears fall not just from the chill but from loss of power, purpose, and the bond she once shared. Meanwhile, Lan struggles with focus while practicing sword forms. His attention shifts as a rider approaches the village. Outside, Adlys lounges on a couch with Tomas nearby. Varen enters as Lan announces a rider's approach.
Another one of her visitors.
Adlys assumes it's another visitor from Moiraine. Varen notes that would make 20. Moiraine remains secretive about them all.
This one is from Ilian.
Lan enters Moraine's chambers with a visitor from Ilian, Bel Domen. Moiraine dismisses Lan, tells him to shut the door, leaving him frustrated. In the White Tower, Egwene, now an Aes Sedai trainee, cleans Swan's quarters, lingering on the Emerlin's dress. On a tower walkway, Lean silently drops a cup in her bucket. Embarrassed after witnessing Alana with her warders, Egwene flees. She pauses by training grounds, then continues to the kitchen. Egwene and Nynaeve talk about life as novices in the kitchen when Alana enters. The novices begin to move their buckets,
Leave the bucket.
but Alana stops Egwene, instructing her to leave hers.
Touch these threads.
Alana begins a lesson on channeling, demonstrating the 5 threads of the One Power. She dips several glasses in dirty bucket water, then shows the novices how to clean it using the power. Once done, she drinks from her glass and tells the novices they must drink from theirs before leaving. Egwene struggles to weave without using her hands, while Nynaeve refuses to embrace the One Power. Frustrated, Nynaeve resists Alana's help. Alana sends the others away, then talks to Nynaeve about the power she and Egwene have. Nynaeve insists no one should have so much power, but Alana points out Nynaeve's refusal to channel.
Close your eye.
In defiance, Nynaeve drinks the dirty water and leaves.
You didn't say it had to be clean.
In the courtyard, the Aes Sedai discuss the novices. Shuraim leads, with Alana noting Egwene needs to relax and Nynaeve is blocked. Liandrin suggests a new teacher for Nynaeve, but Shuraim warns against risks. Liandrin seeks permission to speak with Nynaeve. In Arad Doman, Perrin writes letters to Nynaeve and Egwene, feeling they're all he has left since Rand's disappearance and Mat's unknown whereabouts.
Nynaeve and Egwene are all...
Loyal interrupts, noting Lord Inkter's tracker has lit a signal fire.
The hunt for the Horn of Valir.
The hunt for the Horn of Valir progresses through vast hills, a smoldering fire ahead. As they approach, Uno suspects Payton Fane and his Trollocs are spying, but Loyal reassures him,
I'm sure he's no match for you.
claiming he's far more capable in battle than Fane.
And playing a tune on the horn of...
They encounter Ilias, a sniffer with yellow eyes. Uno warns him about the fire, but Ilias insists it's not his and leads them toward it, glancing at Perrin. Arriving at the fire, they find many Tinkers dead. Perrin receives a vision of Payton Fane attacking a woman and child. Ilias confirms the child survived. They find a dead Sheenaran suspected to have been a dark friend. Loyal says he aided Fane at Faldara. Inkter orders burial, then they'll resume the hunt at dawn. Meanwhile, Bell shows Moiraine a stone he claims predates the breaking, but she's skeptical. Then he reveals shattered Quendalar,
It's unbreakable.
legendary unbreakable material made with the One Power,
It's broken.
proof something powerful has changed. Lan and Tomas discuss Moiraine, her silence, fear, and exhaustion. Lan considers leaving, but Tomas urges him to figure himself out.
You're almost as stubborn as she is.
He jokes Lan's nearly as stubborn as Moiraine.
When did this come into your possession?
In the meantime, she questions Bell about the shattered Quendalar. He reveals it came from the moon dial outside Carrion, which broke in the spring. Bell explains that the dial once bore a full poem, written in blood and in the old tongue. Conveniently, he has a copy. He offers the stone for 50 marks and the poem for 1. Moiraine shrewdly takes only the poem for a single mark,
Thank you for your time.
leaving Bell disappointed. But after, she questions Bell about the men tailing him. He never saw their faces, only hoods. Moiraine realizes they are likely Fades. She gives him 10 marks for supplies and urges him to flee far out to sea.
She's good.
I almost had you.
Careful.
While training with Ivan and Maxim, Nynaeve voices doubts about the White Tower. They share their early struggles, saying they endured by remembering why they came. Maxim advises her to do the same, to spare herself pain and doubt. Nynaeve visits Egwene's room but finds it empty. Meanwhile, Egwene knocks on Alana's door and is welcomed in. She begins discussing her struggle with weaving multiple threads,
First started experimenting.
but Alana initially misinterprets it as a conversation about relationships.
Understood me. I was talking about,
After clearing the confusion,
Oh.
Alana offers heartfelt advice on the complexities of channeling. As Egwene prepares to leave,
Things are messy before they're perfect.
Alana gently reminds her that progress is rarely clean. Messiness often precedes mastery and nothing worth achieving comes easily. Late at night, Nynaeve struggles to purify water in secret. Liandrin enters, calls her a disappointment for lowering herself training with the warders. Liandrin forcefully shows her power, knocking Nynaeve back. She rants about her hatred for warders, provoking Nynaeve into striking back with a powerful weave that slams Liandrin into the wall. Unfazed, Liandrin shields her, showing Nynaeve the barrier she can feel but not break. She reveals her true aim, to help Nynaeve grow so strong that no one can control her. With that, she lifts the shield and exits, leaving Nynaeve shaken but ignited with potential. As Uno and others bury the fallen, Ilias quietly lays the dog to rest. Perrin questions Inkter's decision to honor a traitor. Inkter replies that vengeance brings only more loss. Sheenarans would vanish if all pursued revenge. Perrin, haunted by Fane's cruelty, confesses his growing rage.
I won't be able to stop myself.
Inkter urges him to seek understanding before seeking blood, suggesting that knowing why Fane acts might be more important than killing him.
You may not like the answer.
Perrin listens, a storm building behind his golden eyes. Frustrated, Lon confronts Moraine, believing she's shutting him out.
Don't you dare smile.
When she says she'll dine upstairs, he coldly tells her to cook it herself. She ignores his anger, focused only on her recent discoveries. In her room, Egwene crafts a Beltane lantern when Nynaeve arrives with a letter from Perrin. Egwene reminds her it's Beltane. Nynaeve had forgotten. The letter shares that Perrin's group has lost Fane's trail, but the hunt continues.
To say I miss you both.
He writes of missing them deeply and asks they all promise to reunite next Beltane no matter what. The warmth of the message brings a moment of stillness to them both,
Loyal and I could meet you two in Tarvalon.
as memories of home and friendship briefly eclipse their worries.
Layla, especially now.
Matt, captured by Leandrin on Moraine's orders, hears her fake reading Perrin's letter but omitting his name. She suggests his abandonment caused his absence in their letters.
I haven't touched that dagger in 6 months.
Matt protests, stating he hasn't touched the ruby dagger in months, but Leandrin leaves, locking him in. As Beltane is marked, Perrin launches a lantern with his wedding ring, but reclaims it before it floats off. Interwoven with these moments, Nynaeve reflects on grief and connection. Egwene cries, missing Rand, and Nynaeve assures her she'll stay. Matt lowers a drawer, digging into the wall's bricks. Rand, distant and changed, also hangs a lantern, each of them remembering, mourning, and holding on in their own quiet way. At Tiffin's well, Adlys, Varen, Tomas, and Lon gather for dinner, with Lon setting a plate for Moraine. Tomas asks if they should wait for her, and Lon confidently responds, believing tonight will be significant. The conversation shifts to Moraine and Lan's situation.
When a woman who can channel is cut off,
The women discuss the effects of being cut off from the One Power, describing it as an assault.
most women die.
While many women die from it, Moraine continues to fight each day.
To be quiet and really listen.
Tomas advises Lon to listen rather than speak, a rare request for Lon. Lon eventually goes to deliver Moraine's meal, only to find her room empty. His growing concern deepens. Moraine mounts her horse and rides off, but doesn't get far before encountering a Fade. The horse rears, throwing her off before galloping away. She hides behind a rock, then surprises the Fade, stabbing it as it falls. However, a second Fade stabs her from behind and she collapses. Lon rushes in to save her, killing the second Fade. More Fades appear and a fight ensues. Lon kills one, but another takes him down. Moraine struggles to channel, but Varen and Tomas intervene, killing the remaining Fade. Lon demands Moraine tell him what she's hiding from him.
What aren't you telling me?
On the other side, Rand has a nightmare where he believes he's killed his friends, while Isharmel watches and vanishes with a chuckle. Waking up in a room beside Celine, who asks if he had another nightmare, but he stays silent.
I won't be.
She approaches, reminding him of the unpaid rent for the month.
Hey, my friend!
He walks through Carrion's foregate and enters a building, swapping his jacket for a robe. Inside, he passes patients in a mental asylum, disturbed voices filling the air, including a man's cry claiming Rand al'Thor as his. At Varen's home, Lon and Moraine recover after healing. Varen suggests they travel together, proposing the White Tower, until Moraine reminds her of her exile.
I have been exiled from the tower.
Despite Lan's weakness, Moraine insists they leave soon and asks Tomas to ready her horse.
Where exactly are we headed?
Though Lon quietly wonders where Moraine plans to take them next. The hunt for the horn continues through Arad Doman, with Elias leading on foot as Uno grumbles about their slow pace. At a river clearing, Elias observes that the group they're tracking, including Payton Fane, cross there with buildings visible beyond. As they enter a courtyard, Inkter senses something is off. Perrin spots a woman in a window and, with Inkter, enters to find a family being attacked by a man and a Fade. Elias appears at the doorway and says that it all happened here. Perrin turns to find the scene swarming with flies and insects. Elias explains the difference between vision and reality, denying any involvement. Outside, someone calls Massima to witness something. A Fade, nailed alive to a door and now dead. Likely they believe the work of Payton Fane.
I don't know.
Rand visits Errol, an aging veteran haunted by memories of the Ale War. When Errol panics, crying about Ale breaching walls, Rand soothes him and takes him for a walk. As they stroll, they speak of sword forms like cutting the clouds and reaping the barley.
Cutting the cloud.
When Jan bangs his door loudly, Errol is triggered again,
Get out of here. Now come on.
nearly sparking a fight between Rand and Jan. Jan leaves, muttering about spotting important figures in the garden. Rand focuses on calming Errol once more. As they continue talking, Errol shares wisdom about swordplay and how Rand might deal with bullies who push others around in subtle, cruel ways.
Leandrin Sedai herself came in and took her.
In the kitchen, Egwene learns from a novice that Leandrin has taken Nynaeve away somewhere. Leandrin leads Nynaeve through the Ajas, starting with a yellow healing where Nynaeve watches Crimson Thorn root used to ease breakbone fever. Surprised it's curable, she assists during the healing. In a courtyard, Leandrin speaks of the Brown Aja's knowledge, the Grey's diplomacy, and the Red's focus on men who channel, calling it a different kind of disease. Nynaeve disagrees strongly. Leandrin shares that the One power slows aging, giving Aes Sedai time to shape the world. She urges Nynaeve to accept the test through the Three Arches, nudging her toward training.
Then our work can begin.
Their walk ends with Leandrin buying some sweet cakes and a quiet goodbye. Leandrin brings sweet cakes to Matt's room, which he jokingly suspects might be poisoned.
I'd think a far more creative option.
After she leaves and locks the door, Matt imitates her hand movements to study the lock. Once alone, he grabs a sweet cake and quietly returns to prying bricks from the wall, continuing his secret escape plan. Egwene returns to find her door blocked by pillows and the hallway crowded. She redirects them to the next room and advises the new novice not to block her door again. Curious, the novice asks to see Egwene's small room for design inspiration. Inside Egwene's room, the new novice mistakes her for a newcomer, then backpedals, noting the two rivers stitching. She introduces herself as Elaine Traken, daughter heir of Ander, awkwardly calling Egwene her subject.
I'm Egwene Alvear.
Elaine muses on great novice pairings. While Alana hosts Shiraham with her warders present, Shiraham tries to discuss Aes Sedai-only matters.
What Leandrin's proposing is...
Alana ignores the cue and includes Ivan and Maxim in the talk about Nynaeve's accepted test. When Alana claims powerful new channelers signaled the last battle, Shiraham grows uneasy. She reminds Alana she only gets one vote, not three through her warders, then eyes travel bags, questioning whether Alana even plans to stay for the vote.
Do you want to stay?
Nynaeve reaches Leandrin's room but just misses her.
If you hurry, perhaps you can catch her.
A novice suggests she might catch her if she hurries. Nynaeve follows, trailing Leandrin through the tower until a hidden passage reveals stairs. She descends, crossing tunnels beneath Tar Valon to a market. At Atuan's mill, the hunters stop for the night, hoping for news of Fane. In the market, Perrin notes odd local foods including fermented lionfish Loyal enjoys. At the inn, Elias chooses the outdoors,
I prefer to sleep under the stars.
reminding Perrin that the Sheenarens aren't his pack. Moraine and Varen talk on their journey to Tar Valon. Varen questions why the Fades pursued Moraine,
Did you not think we would ask why?
suspecting that one of the boys she brought back is the Dragon Reborn. Moraine subtly reaches for her dagger, demanding to know who else is aware. Varen calmly stops her, testing her resolve and loyalty.
That I will never betray you.
She declares the Red Aja is wrong, caging the dragon won't heal the world. Varen vows to search the tower's texts for ancient prophecies. In the Foregate's chaos, crowds celebrate. Rand watches Jan drunkenly drift away, then follows. Seizing the moment, Rand ambushes him, nearly unleashing the power before beating him unconscious. Returning to his room, Rand finds Selene waiting. He asks to be alone,
When things get bad, we want to be alone.
but she insists solitude is when one needs others most, offering they be alone together instead.
Barely spent a few hours in Tar Valon itself.
Egwene tours Elaine around the tower. She admits her experience but genuinely enjoys talking with Egwene. Unfortunately, Shiraham confronts Elaine about the fancy furniture in her room. Elaine takes the blame, earning daily punishment. She accepts it calmly.
And you?
Shiraham orders Elaine's furniture removed. Embarrassed before Egwene,
Sorry you had to see that.
Elaine's room now feels bare and painfully quiet.
Well,
In Carrion's North Harbor, Leandrin visits her son, administering diluted Crimson Thorn root to ease his chronic pain. Watching from a distance, Nynaeve suspects Leandrin is misusing the root to poison a man who can channel. When Leandrin notices her, she confronts Nynaeve.
What are you doing here?
The Crimson.
After a tense exchange, during which Nynaeve suggests alternative treatments, Leandrin, frustrated, slaps her and throws her out of the room.
Get out! Get out!
Leandrin's lifelong secret, her son,
My beautiful boy.
is now known to Moraine and Nynaeve, leaving her deeply unsettled and afraid. Matt finishes removing the last brick from his cell wall, expecting escape, but instead finds another room. Disappointed, he meets Min through the hole. She asks for a tool to widen the opening, and they formally exchange names, forging a quiet connection. By the fire, Adley shares how Tomas became Varen's warder, then probes Moraine and Lan's origin.
You've never told us the story of how you met?
Moraine reveals she once mistook Lon for a dark friend.
I'd been following him on the road all day.
She tried to disarm Lon, mistaking him for a threat, but he swiftly hurled her into a pond. Adley's quips that while good warders fight Trollocs, the best protect Aes Sedai from themselves. Through the hole in the wall, Mat and Min talk and share wine. She joins him in his room, surprised by his disinterest in his own fate. Min explains she sees glimpses of the pattern, fragments of the future.
I'll see things too.
Mat only cares about escaping his cell. Before leaving, a disturbing vision overtakes Min. She sees Mat driving the ruby dagger into Rand. She hides her reaction, unsettled, while Mat remains unaware.
There was someone that I loved once.
In Carrion, Selene confesses she imagines Rand as a lost love to feel whole again.
Someone I wish I could forget.
Rand, meanwhile, longs to forget someone from his past. They recognize their emotional opposition, yet they find comfort in each other's presence.
My secret weapon.
In Elaine's room, she shares a drink brewed using air to accelerate the process, revealing her joy in crafting due to her sheltered upbringing. Talk turns to Nynaeve.
We came here together.
Outside, Nynaeve overhears Egwene venting resentment, claiming she's always alone in her struggles.
Where is she when I actually need her?
Hurt, Nynaeve quietly walks away unnoticed. Elaine warns Egwene against envying Nynaeve. Egwene denies it, but Elaine, drawing from her life as daughter heir, gently insists otherwise.
I know what jealousy looks like.
Nynaeve expecting Egwene, but Liandrin arrives instead, urgently telling her to follow. Liandrin leads Nynaeve to a chamber where Shiraim and Lean await. In a solemn ceremony, they question if Nynaeve is prepared to abandon her past and confront her fears.
Let her face what she fears.
With Lean's confirmation, they guide her to the room of the Three Arches. As Lon readies Moraine's horse, he finds Belle's poem and pockets it. Moraine arrives and recalls first wanting him as her warder after seeing his fearless calm near staked Trollocs. She insists he must return to the White Tower, alone.
You can't push me away.
Lon refuses, but Moraine reveals the full truth.
The last battle's coming.
Isharmael was at the eye of the world, Rand lives, and her loyalty is now to him.
Because my loyalty is to him.
She accuses Lon of failing her, claiming she'd be dead without Varen and Adley's.
Without Beren and Adelaus, I would be dead.
Alana, Ivan, and Maxim arrive, having agreed to Moraine's request to escort Lon to the tower, by force if needed. She coldly states they were never equals, then rides away, leaving him behind in silence. Under the cover of night in Atwan's mill, Shanshan forces invade, capturing villagers and sparking a skirmish. Perrin and the Shinarans mount a defense. Loyal, overwhelmed by soldiers and ropes, roars defiantly. Perrin charges in, freeing him, and Loyal flings enemies aside. Inter calls the fighters to regroup. Just then, two Domain arrive with their handlers and weave a crushing wall of air that slams into the defenders. The force renders all unconscious, ending the brief resistance. The Shanshan now have control, leaving the village in silence and shadows. Come morning, Perrin, Loyal, and the others, bound and surrounded by Shanshan guards, sit under grim skies. A grand-stepped palanquin approaches, carried with reverence. At its peak sits a Shanshan leader, but beside them, cloaked in shadowed confidence, is Isharmael himself the Forsaken. On his way to the asylum, Rand learns from Celestin that Jan was attacked.
So we need you to feel the position.
Unaware that Rand himself was the attacker, and that he'll be replacing him. In the garden, Rand meets Logain, explains Jan's accident, and hints that they share more in common than Logain did with his previous caretaker.
You and I have a lot more in common.
At the White Tower, Nynaeve stands before the ancient Terengriel known as the Three Arches. Shiraim, Lean, and Liandrin explain its purpose, to confront one's deepest fears. Many Aes Sedai were lost trying to understand Terengriel, but the function of this one is known.
If you are doing this for someone else, you will fail.
Nynaeve must pass through each arch and return, though what she faces is hers alone. She is warned.
You must continue to the end.
Once the journey begins, she must see it through or leave the tower forever. Some never return. Each woman is given 3 chances. Lean admits she failed on her first. Nynaeve accepts the risk. The 3 Aes Sedai channel the one power to open the arches, and Nynaeve steps through the first. Within the first arch, Nynaeve is taken to her childhood. Her father, Birion, notices crimson thorn root in her hand and quickly washes it away.
You have to be careful, sweetheart.
Crimson Thorn roots are poisonous.
Suddenly, bandits attack. Birion leads her in a desperate escape, joined by her mother Elnor, who fights back with a bow.
You're hurt. Elnor.
They reach their home and hide Nynaeve in the cellar. Her father, in the old tongue, says they'll go into the old land so their children are never alone. As the bandits break in, her parents face them upstairs. Nynaeve grabs a cleaver, but when Shiriam's voice calls for the way back to appear but once, she steps through the arch. Liandrin pours water over Nynaeve in a ritual cleansing,
Wash clean of your sins.
and Lean heals her wounds. When Nynaeve questions the vision's reality, Shiriam admits no one truly knows.
Bearing the actual wounds taken inside.
The arches light again, with Shiriam's warning echoing, the way back to appear but once. Nynaeve steps into the second. In the second arch, Nynaeve finds Tam feverish in a sick room. Blisters cover his chest, and the poisonous crimson thorn root, given by New Wisdom Nadi.
You don't understand what these herbs can do.
Nynaeve confronts Nadi, who defends using the root for a painless death.
If you can heal them, then do it.
She accuses Nynaeve of abandoning them, saying the Two Rivers is no longer her home.
It's all right.
Tam gently asks Nynaeve to stay as the herbs take effect, knowing his fate. When the arch appears and Shiriam's voice calls, Nynaeve, heart heavy,
Please don't go.
I promise you.
leaves him behind and steps through, returning once more to the chamber of the three arches in the White Tower.
Will come, but once.
As the arches glow again, Shiriam repeats her warning. Nynaeve steps into the final arch. In the third arch, Nynaeve drifts through a chaotic void, haunted by screams and fleeting images of Lon. Suddenly ejected, she returns shaken, dress blood-stained. Cleansed again, she's told the blood isn't hers. Nynaeve finds Lan's Hadori in her hand. Shiriam names her accepted, offering the ring.
What did I do in that last arch?
But Nynaeve rejects it, wanting to know what happened in the last arch, denouncing the tower's values, and walks out despite Liandrin's warning.
You will never be allowed to return.
In her tower room, Nynaeve packs. Egwene begs her to stay, but Nynaeve says Egwene no longer needs her.
Do you know what Aes Sedai means in the altar?
She'll serve the world, not the tower. As Nynaeve rides from the tower, Lon catches up, offering to go with her. She shares her intent to return home and questions his bond to Moiraine.
What about Moiraine?
He stays silent. An arch appears, Shiriam's voice echoes the way back to appear but once. Nynaeve ignores both,
I don't know.
unsure if she's dreaming or truly free. The final arch seals in the chamber, ending Nynaeve's trial lost in the arches. Lean departs, accepting her choice.
Has made her choice.
Shiriam blames their failure, hoping guilt haunts Liandrin. Alone, Liandrin is consumed by frustration and regret. At Outwan's mill, Perrin, Loyal, and others stand captive, surrounded by Shanshan soldiers. The masked and silent High Lady Sarath issues commands with subtle gestures. Miri, wearing a silencing mouthpiece, selects girls from the crowd who can channel. Alwyn declares the villagers trespassers on reclaimed Shanshan land,
People of Atuan's mill.
recounting Luther Pendrag's crossing of the Aerith Ocean and claiming their conquest fulfills prophecy. As more girls are taken, Alwyn insists that swearing fealty to Sarath absolves ancestral crimes. Uno readies a hidden blade, but Inter warns against it. Uno is chosen to swear the oaths but fights back, stabbing two Shanshan before being overpowered. Alwyn demands his obedience, but Uno refuses defiantly. Sarath signals and guards force Uno to his knees. Despite warnings, Uno resists. Sarath signals again. Uno is brutally killed, his mouth impaled on the horn, instilling terror in the captives. High Lady Sarath declares all must bow. One by one, they kneel. Perrin lasts for a while but later drops to one knee, locking eyes with Isharmel. Alwyn speaks the oath and all echo it.
And to serve.
Rand brings Logain food in the asylum garden, hiding his identity beneath shortened hair. Logain sees through it, asking about Jan. Rand explains Jan had an accident and he's taking over.
I'll be looking after you from now on.
Sensing Rand's unease, Logain teases him,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't.
then reveals he recognized him from Tar Valon.
I remember you.
His glow then brighter than any man he'd ever seen channel. He says he laughed, knowing Rand would change everything. Finally, Rand asks the question he's been holding back.
How to control them.
How to control the power. Logain laughs, amused, and tells Rand he'll answer, but only if he brings him a bottle of Gildanin red wine. In the foregate, Rand sees people branded with the Horn of Valir and a gleeman telling tales of the hunt.
Home. What home?
Selene explains Carrion's queen promised riches to its finder. Rand searches a wine stall for Gildanin red as Logain requested.
I'll be back.
Selene questions the effort but offers to help, suggesting they find him a better coat while they're at it. As Egwene and Elaine walk the tower halls, Egwene complains of a hangover. Concerned by Nynaeve's silence, they find Shiraim packing her belongings. Shiraim reveals Nynaeve entered the Three Arches and never returned.
Nynaeve is dead.
Egwene, devastated, insists on saving her, but Elaine reminds her the test is final. Shiraim offers cold comfort, claiming grief forges strength. After she leaves, Elaine tries to console Egwene, who sends her away, collapsing in silent, aching sorrow. Liandrin stands over Matt as he sleeps. He startles awake, attempting a joke, but she silences him, speaking of the loss of a powerful sister.
The door's open, you're free to go.
He's free to leave. Matt wary asks why. Liandrin bitterly blames him for distracting her, leading to her sister's death.
You're an insidious coward who missed.
Calling him a coward and a burden, she leaves him, stunned and reeling. Up in the tower, Liandrin melts Nynaeve's ring in the furnace, mourning her loss. Egwene confronts Liandrin for Nynaeve's death. She channels fire to block her exit.
I'm not done with you!
Liandrin quells Egwene's fire and belittles her, claiming Egwene be wise and know her place. She justifies sending Nynaeve into the Arches, calling it belief, now regret. Egwene, undeterred, warns Liandrin she hasn't seen her true strength, then departs. At a Carrianan nobles party, Rand, in a striking red coat, navigates curious stairs. He mentions Gildan wine. Celine offers to find it. While Celine searches for wine, Lady Anvere warns Rand of Delane's schemes.
An invitation from Lady Delane.
He silently rejects her by burning the invite. Anvere discerns Rand's four-gate origins and condemns Carrian's cruelty, using false hope and the Horn myth to rid themselves of refugees. Rand defends the Queen's offer, but Anvere reveals it's all manipulation. Celine returns and leads Rand away,
Sorry.
giving him a bottle of Gildan in red. She warns that everything in Carrion is part of a scheme. When pressed on her motives, she deflects. Unsettled, Rand leaves her behind in disappointment.
Are you just gonna leave me?
Rand returns breathless to Logain, offering the Gildan in wine. Logain accepts, speaking of the One Power's inescapable lure.
How do I stop it?
Pouring the wine until it spills, he compares it to the uncontrollable urge to channel. Rand accuses him of madness.
There's no madness, boy.
But Logain denies it, blaming the Ice Dye's lies.
You're not the dragon.
Rand asserts Logain isn't the dragon. Calmly, Logain insists he carries Luz Theron's blood and hears his voice still, hinting at deeper truths. Matt decides to find Egwene at the White Tower and discovers her weeping in the garden. He steps closer but, overcome with guilt, pauses, then silently turns away, returning to his cell. Egwene glances up as if sensing someone had been there. Back in his cell, Matt calls Min over.
Look, if you're trying to seduce me...
She notices the open door and urges escape,
The door's open.
but Matt hesitates, unsure where to go. Fed up, Min walks out alone. Matt eventually trails after her into the unknown. Shackled in a wagon bound for Fam, Perrin awakens to find Isharmael nearby. Isharmael calls him a guest of Lady Sarath, destined for a Shan-Chan future. Isharmael offers Perrin water, which he hesitantly accepts. As wolves howl nearby, Isharmael reveals he knows about Perrin's golden eyes and claims to be the Dark One who haunted their dreams. Suddenly they hear fighting, wolves battling guards come to rescue Perrin. Isharmael warns Perrin that embracing his wolf side binds him to him. He exits the wagon. Moments later, Ilias bursts in, frees Perrin, and they flee. He points to a wolf, telling Perrin to follow. Elsewhere, Min prepares 2 horses when Matt arrives with food.
Did you steal those nags?
She asks him to hold the reins, then secretly meets Liandrin,
He's coming with me.
revealing their plan to mislead Matt to an unknown destination.
Don't let me down.
Meanwhile, Celine waits in Rand's room as he arrives. She jokingly warns that if he leaves her again, she'll kill him. During a passionate moment, she urges him to channel. Unknowingly, Rand awakens later, still channeling, igniting the roof. Pretending ignorance, Celine returns from outside, feigning concern for Rand. They flee together, watching from a distance as the inn burns. In the White Tower, Egwene stands in the Three Arches chamber, struggling to reopen the arches. Elaine enters, explaining others have tried and failed, and that it requires multiple Aes Sedai. When Egwene demands help or silence, Elaine refuses. She warns of danger and expulsion. Reminding Egwene of Nynaeve's strength and love, Elaine offers to bring blankets so they can stay the night.
I can't leave her.
Within the Arches, Nynaeve believes she's truly back in the Two Rivers, living with Lon and their daughter. Elnor Jr. Perrin chases Elnor, who wields a wooden sword.
My lady.
Matt arrives on horseback, well-dressed, and hands Nynaeve a letter from Egwene. As evening falls, Matt and Perrin play with Elnor while Nynaeve and Lon prepare dinner. Nynaeve shares that Egwene and other Greens are heading north.
She and the other Greens are headed north.
Trollocs have invaded Saldia.
Do you regret leaving the tower?
When Lon asks if she regrets leaving the tower, she remains silent. A Trolloc bursts in. Nynaeve hides Elnor in the cellar, grabs an axe and returns to Carnage. Matt, Perrin and Lon all slain. She channels, killing the rest. Channeling within the arches is supposed to be impossible, yet somehow she does it. An arch suddenly appears, and that's when she realizes she's still inside the test. As more Trollocs close in, she grabs her daughter and steps through. She emerges alone in reality, screaming and in tears. Egwene and Elaine, awakened by her cries, rush to comfort her. Earlier, Isharmael wandered through ancient ruins, shadowed by silence. Beneath a glowing seal above, he channeled upward, chanting in the old tongue. The seal shattered. A woman emerged, crouched trembling. Isharmael's chant stirred her awake. As she rose, she reached out. He grasped her hand unflinching. In Carrion, Lady Anver wakes alone and places her wig with practiced care. Her quiet studio surrounds her, paintings, memories, silence. Jonas enters gently, announcing an unexpected visitor. Anver stills, heart tightening. It's her elder sister, Moraine Damodred. Tense but composed, she welcomes Moraine,
You look well, little sister.
who coldly dismisses her tea.
Bring up a Gildan and Red. Sit!
Anver snaps, years of silence cracked by her stubborn sister, who briskly walks off in a rash to meet someone.
It's not your fault.
In the foregate, Rand silently shovels ash from the fire's ruins. Celine, guilt-ridden, blames herself and arranges repairs. She invites him to her cabin near Kinslayer's dagger, but he gently refuses, distant and withdrawn. In the White Tower, Nynaeve sits on her bed, clad in the Accepted's dress, her wisdom's belt still wrapped tightly around her. The last words from her daughter echo in her mind. She opens the door to Egwene, who offers honey cakes and quiet comfort.
So good to have you back.
At Alana's family home in Arafel, laughter echoes as children spar with Maxim and Ivan. Alana stirs the pot, smiling.
No, I want to.
Lon watches quietly, the warmth stirring something long buried within him. At a table laden with food, laughter flows as Alana serves Lon despite his protests, her sisters smiling. Later, Alana finds Lon alone. He notes how Ivan and Maxim rarely leave him.
So we're gonna skip all of that.
Skipping pleasantries, Alana states the truth.
Your bond wasn't ripped from you, she took it.
She asks his plans.
I wish you could have known Moraine before.
Alana invites him to the tower. He refuses. Quietly, she remembers Moraine, changed long before the bond. Perhaps she has never been truly happy. Meanwhile, Moraine explores her old room, uncovering furniture, books, a music box, and cigarillos. She pauses at a painting of herself and her sister. She spots her sister arguing with the caretaker, then silently takes the red and leaves. At the sanitarium, Moraine walks with Celestine,
I'd like some time alone with your wall.
then enters the garden alone to find Logain.
I should kill you where you stand.
Logain would have liked to kill Moraine immediately. She gives him some information that she's the reason he's in the sanitarium instead of the White Tower cells, spared from the yellow and brown Ajah's study.
Bottle of wine.
Logain rejects the wine she brought for him, bitterly accuses her of taking everything from him. She offers him something he craves most, a dagger to end his life. She tells him to teach Rand everything about channeling,
I'll leave the knife with you.
promising the dagger after Rand's progress. As Egwene and Elaine work, Egwene expresses concern over her growing distance from Nynaeve, feeling unable to repay the support Nynaeve gave her during her loss. She feels smaller since arriving at the tower. Elsewhere, Nynaeve walks the tower halls uneasily.
You must be Nynaeve Almera, aren't you?
At the warder's training ground, seeking Maxim and Ivan, she's approached by another warder. Silently, she turns to leave, unaware Leandrin watches from the shadows. Leandrin informs Lean the western shore is under attack and questions her inaction. Lean claims sisters were sent but evades when asked if they've reported back. Leandrin warns, then departs. On the other side, wolves run through the woods as Perrin and Elias follow a wooded trail. Perrin learns more about his true nature.
I am them.
According to Elias, they are both wolf brothers,
Exactly what it sounds like.
connected by a unique psychic bond with wolves, allowing them to share visions of hunts seen by the pack's scouts.
Send that vision to lead us to it.
Elias reveals that he and the wolves helped Perrin and Egwene escape the White Cloaks months ago but hesitated to approach, as wolf brothers typically avoid women who can channel.
We don't go near women who can channel.
One wolf, who lost his mate, has been tracking Perrin. Through a vision, the wolf shares his name, Hopper, with Perrin.
Hopper.
In Arafel, Lon reads the poem he took from Moraine, then puts it away as Maxim arrives.
I've already started making dinner.
They pause by a well to talk about Lan's well-being. Lon is coping remarkably well, unlike most warders in the weeks following the bond's breaking. Maxim notices the distant look in Lan's eyes. Lon sighs,
The last 6 months or so.
mentioning that Moraine has kept the bond masked for the past 6 months. Maxim shares his own experiences, believing Lon can handle it as they did with Alana and Ivan. Back in Carrion, Moraine stands before the burned ruins of the Crescent Inn. She approaches the gate guards, asking about a red-haired boy.
There was a boy staying there.
The guard shrugs.
What about him?
Moraine just walks into the city. As Rand and Celine climb Kinslayer's dagger, they pause on a cliffside, gazing out.
He was the first man I ever loved.
Celine admits she once stayed there with a man she loved, not relatives as she'd claimed. She speaks of her first love and leans against Rand's chest. Rand shares he grew up in a place like this, never wanting to leave, but the wheel never grants such wishes.
You have to take it.
Celine inserts, "You just take it." In an inn, Matt loses a dice to Min. He's been drinking, she hasn't. Min asks the barkeep to send someone up when they arrive, then returns with more drinks for Matt.
There should be someone meeting me there.
There's something unclear about her, something yet to be revealed. Within the Chamber of the Arches, Nynaeve wrestles with the lingering pain of her visions, especially the loss of her daughter. Leandrin confesses a long-held secret. She had a son hidden for nearly a century, kept safe in Tar Valon to shield him from her enemies.
The 3 oaths bind us to speak the truth.
Aes Sedai cannot lie to others, she says, but they can deceive themselves. Her son was the only piece of herself she feared to lose. She warns Nynaeve that they are all cursed. Men to madness, women to grief, watching time steal everything. Then she delivers news. An invasion brews in the west, and among the few prisoners taken is a blacksmith from the Two Rivers.
Traveling within Ogia.
Nynaeve realized that must be Perrin. In Arafel, the three meditate. Maxim breaks first and leaves. Ivan says people don't realize the quiet ones stay silent because the conversation is always unfolding in their minds. Still, Lon is troubled that Moraine never saw him as an equal. Ivan agrees they're not meant to be. The world sees only an Aes Sedai's power.
We see their weakness.
Unlike Ivan and Maxim, Lon fears he no longer understands Moraine. Meanwhile, Maxim leads Alana into a room and shows her Lan's poem. As she reads, Isharmel's voice whispers in the old tongue. At night, Moraine returns and finds her sister already waiting in her room. Dismissing pleasantries, Anver recounts how she rebuilt House Damodred alone,
Right knows I tried.
once begging scraps while others waited for Moraine's return. Now her son is to marry the queen. Moraine admits Anver succeeded where she wouldn't have. Anver, no longer seeking her sister's praise, warns her not to jeopardize what's been built. Informants once loyal to Moraine, Celestin and Sandaire, now answer to Anver. If Moraine wants information about Rand, she'll have to ask nicely.
Very nicely, Umid.
Anver pours tea and offers it, amused by her control. In the White Tower, Egwene is in Elaine's room when Nynaeve enters, asking for a moment alone. She tells Egwene that Perrin and Loyal have been captured, and she's going to Fawn to rescue them. Egwene, undeterred by the risk of expulsion, insists on going too, vowing not to fail her friends again.
I know a safe way out.
Nynaeve knows a safe way out, and they leave together. Nynaeve leads Egwene through a secret passage. They hear a sound. Elaine appears, confronting them before Leandrin arrives, surprised. She apologizes, then strikes with the one power, knocking them out.
What are you doing there?
Meanwhile, Min sleeps in an attic room when her aunts drag her to work as a circus fortune teller.
Open your eye.
Visions of death overwhelm her until Isharmel steps forward, and the screams stop. It turns out Min was sent by Leandrin, who lied to her, promising to remove her vision curse. Now Min wants out of the deal.
I won't let you hurt Matt.
Isharmel promises to lift the curse if she takes Matt to Carrion.
What's in Kyrian?
Isharmel only smiles. That night, Rand and Celine sleep outside. Rand wakes, draws his sword, and steps away cautiously. A Fade emerges from the shadows. Rand turns just in time, but the Fade knocks his sword aside. He channels, setting it ablaze. Celine initially appears afraid of Rand and his abilities.
I should have told you.
He apologizes for the fire at the inn,
It was an accident.
explaining it was an accident. When he steps forward, Celine gasps and pulls back. Rand stops, nods, and says he understands, he'll leave. They say madmen kill those they love first, so he'll go far away. Afraid she sees him as a monster, he backs away.
You said you love me.
But to his surprise, Celine immediately softens and assures him she can accept him just as he is.
It's just part of your nature.
She guides him to the cabin. In Arafel, after they confirmed Lon sleeps,
What did you find?
Alana reveals a prophecy in Old Tongue from the poem about Lonfair, the Forsaken, seeking a doomed lover.
A new lover she seeks.
At Kinslayer's dagger, Selene binds Rand. Isharmael's voice echoes the prophecy as Selene rises, Lonfair revealed. As Selene tries to confess to Rand that she's also a monster, a sword pierces Lonfair's chest. It's Moraine.
No, hurry.
Enraged, Rand hurls her into a wall and grabs her throat, but stops when Moraine calmly reveals Celine's true identity. Lonfair, one of the Forsaken, she can't be killed.
Hurry!
So they have to run. Shanshan vessels lower sails near Fam as Lady Sarath arrives, Isharmael beside her, leading chained prisoners into the looming city. In Fam's palace courtyard, High Lady Sarath presents Loyal and the captured Shinarans to High Lord Turuk. Attempting to justify her unauthorized attacks on cities, she's met with disdain.
We have a mission.
Turuk condemns her recklessness and declares her unfit for the court. As nobles murmur and Isharmael watches in silence, her punishment is swift, her prized fingernails are cut in disgrace. The nobles avert their eyes in silence as Sarath lowers her gaze. She is then escorted away to her chambers. Isharmael, having worked closely with Sarath, presents High Lord Turuk with an ancient gift. Payton Fane delivers the Horn of Valir. Turuk proclaims that with this prize,
The whole world will be ours.
in Kinslayer's Dagger Woods, Moraine and Rand flee far from Lonfair.
Hurry!
At the cabin, Lonfair revives, mends her wounds with powerful weaves, dons her cloak, and begins pursuit through the forest. Rand and Moraine flee through the night, reaching the stables. As they untie the horses, the stable master appears.
You just take my horses.
You're coming with us.
Moraine secures 3 horses, claiming they're needed at the White Tower, insisting the stable master comes along. Spotting a 4th horse, she kills it to hinder Lonfair. They flee, galloping toward Tar Valon. Later, Lonfair sees the dead horse. A clever tactic by Moraine to deny her transport. Without hesitation, Lonfair kills an older man who shows concern. She takes his horse and gallops down the road, pursuing Rand and Moraine. In Toman Head, Elias and Perrin walk through the woods at night with the wolves, teaching Perrin what it means to be a wolf brother.
That's a Tuan's mill.
Perrin is shocked when Elias leads him away from his captured friends.
Upon my back!
Angry, he almost fights the wolves but leaves, determined to help his friends, knowing the danger they face. The wolf hopper follows him. On the road to Tar Valon, after Lonfair rides past, Moraine and Rand emerge from hiding behind a stone. They've tricked her and are heading in a different direction.
You did not defeat the Dark One at the Eye of the World.
Moraine reveals Rand didn't defeat the Dark One at the Eye of the World. He freed his strongest lieutenant, Isharmael, leader of the Forsaken. Meanwhile, Hopper catches up with Perrin and leads him toward Otwan's mill across the river.
Need to work out where they took Loyal.
Perrin sniffs the air and has a vision of Uno's body in a cage.
They didn't even bury him.
Determined to give his friend a proper burial, he asks Hopper to stay behind and rows across. At Otwan's mill, Perrin finds cages holding the dead.
It will be loud, Bystander.
As he picks up a hammer to break the lock, a woman's voice stops him. An ale woman in a cage.
What did she do?
A man warns him not to trust her. He offers her water, then leads Perrin to a nearby inn. Hearing indistinct voices behind him, Perrin turns to see white cloaks in town. He spots Eamon Valda in the distance. Startled, Perrin urgently asks to see the room.
I hope you find your way back home, Two Rivers.
As they head inside, the barkeep mutters that things are far worse with the white cloaks around. Meanwhile, Eamon Valda, revealed to have survived the wolves' attack, confronts Dane nearby. During his talk with Dane, Valda expresses wariness of the ale girl.
Who's that?
Perrin overhears him say it took 16 questioners just to cage her. Meanwhile, Lonfair races toward Tar Valon but halts when she catches up to the stable master, resting with the 3 horses.
Even though I've been trained.
Stop talking.
Used as bait, she now faces Lonfair's wrath for not knowing where her companions have gone.
We're looking for them.
Oh, I know you.
Her magic seals her mouth, muffling her shouts before she charges down the road. In Tar Valon, a cloaked rider enters the city gates at night. As the White Tower comes into view, she lowers her hood, revealing Varen.
Can't the retiree pop in without an old...
She catches up with her fellow Brown Aja members, including Yasika, and asks for news of Egwene and Nynaeve. Speaking of Egwene and Nynaeve, they are bound and unconscious, Elaine too on a path in the ways.
You're shielded and bound.
Nynaeve awakens, realizing they are shielded and restrained by Liandrin. Liandrin admits her allegiance to the Dark One and reveals she wanted Nynaeve to join his forces, motivated by her 6 son's condition. Nynaeve, stunned by Liandrin's betrayal,
No matter what you do or say or where you take her.
fiercely vows to never serve the Dark One.
Was your price worth all this?
In Fam, Surath enters her chambers with Isharmael and Alwyn,
Leave us, please.
who is promptly dismissed. Surath vents to Isharmael, expressing her desire to kill Turuk over her punishment.
Just kill Turak and be done with it.
Isharmael counsels patience. With a subtle threat, he reminds her of her place.
I forget myself, my lord.
He offers her a gift, gripping her hand possessively and letting her know that the dragon will be on their side. Meanwhile, Perrin quietly leaves his room and heads toward his boat. As he walks by the prisoner cages, he hesitates, then chooses to free Avienda, unsure if the White Cloaks can be trusted. Though wary, she agrees to come with him.
My name is Avienda.
But before they can get far, they're suddenly surrounded by White Cloak soldiers. When they draw their swords, Perrin steps protectively in front of Avienda. She only chuckles and confidently steps forward, clearly ready to fight.
Do you like to dance?
The White Cloaks attack with a sudden strike and a fierce fight breaks out. Avienda fights fiercely, proving the ale's deadly reputation, while Perrin joins with his axe. Together, they defeat Dane and his men quickly. Perrin pleads for Dane's life before they flee the scene. Rand and Moraine hurry through the city, needing food, warmer clothes, rest, and fresh horses before continuing their journey.
You can keep us awake with one power.
Moraine warns Rand about Lonfair's strength in Telerin Riot and the danger of sleeping. She also reveals she can no longer use the One Power. At Damodred Manor, they're welcomed by Moraine's sister Anver and her nephew Barthanas, who is soon to marry Queen Galdrain. Moraine curtsies with a teasing smile before walking off, leaving Barthanas confused by her sudden appearance and lack of answers.
Should I say my liege?
At the White Tower, Shirem is busy writing in her ledger when Varen arrives, asking about the girls from the Two Rivers.
And Nynaeve Almira.
She notes that Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine are missing. Shirem insists they were signed out to visit Elaine's home, but something feels wrong. Varen convinces her to step away for a moment. While she's gone, Yasika sneaks in and checks the records. She notices a strange shake in Shiriam's handwriting, like it was done under a compulsion weave.
It's a weave of compulsion.
This confirms to Varen that someone from the Black Aja is hiding inside the White Tower, manipulating others from within. Varen says they must track everyone entering and leaving the White Tower right now. At an oasis near Fam, a waygate opens, and Liandrin arrives with unconscious Nynaeve, Egwene, and Elaine. She meets Lady Surath, who sits surrounded by guards, de Kovali, Demane, and Suldam. The girls are removed from horses and placed under the tree. Liandrin delivers them to Surath, but disapproves of the Cinchian's control over channelers.
I'll remind you of it.
The girls are to become Demane, leashed with Adam. As Liandrin leaves, she cuts Nynaeve's bonds, showing either mercy or disdain for Surath. Nynaeve can't channel due to a block, so Elaine channels instead. The two escape, but Egwene is captured. She's bound on the ground, struggling helplessly as two Demane restrain her using the One Power.
You do not dance the spears badly.
Perrin and Avienda stop at Toman Head to rest and cook. As they eat, Avienda treats a wound and explains her culture. She's searching for the Kare Karn, the prophesied leader, but owes Perrin a debt.
The Aiel way. You saved my life.
Avienda jokingly suggests they could be more than just friends.
I will not attack you in a fit of lust.
They decide to head to Fam to rescue their friends. In Fam, Nynaeve and Elaine sneak into the city with a caravan, dressed as locals. They search the markets for Perrin, Loyal, or Egwene, but find nothing. Nynaeve grows impatient, ignoring Elaine's warnings. A man follows them through the crowd. Just as Elaine notices him, he strikes, knocking both girls unconscious. Liandrin returns to the White Tower, where Varen intercepts her, gently probing into the matter of the missing girls. Liandrin sticks to her story,
I'd heard on the road back.
claiming she heard of girls in the same age group taken in a caravan that was attacked. She feigns concern, but Varen watches her closely, thoughtful and suspicious. At the Damodred Manor, Moraine quietly cleans blood from her hands in her room. Anver knocks and steps inside, sensing something heavy on her sister's mind. She doesn't know the full story but sees Moraine struggle clearly.
When I was a little girl,
Anver gently reminds Moraine of her own childhood advice, about trusting others to stand on their own. Maybe Rand doesn't need guarding, not in the way Moraine thinks.
That Rand needs your protection.
She listens, uncertain, but the words settle. In Fam, Rand sleeps as Isharmael watches. Rand fades away, revealing Lonfair. In the dream world Telerin Riot, Lonfair and Isharmael talk. He knows she failed to turn Rand.
Do you know why the Great
Lanfair understands more of Isharmael's true plan than most. Both suspect betrayal from the other.
I actually believe in the dark.
He reshapes Rand in the dream to impress Lanfair, revealing he woke her first to sway Rand.
You're getting better in the dream.
He also believes Rand will break once his friends fall under his control.
My lord.
Isharmael wakes to meet High Lord Turek, who questions his origins and fast rise. He stands his ground, having presented the Horn of Valir. Isharmael earns Turek's favor and restores Suratha's standing.
The High Lady Surath has a gift for you.
In a hidden attic, Nynaeve and Elaine awaken under the care of Rima, a yellow Aja Aes Sedai. She explains the danger the Shanchan pose to women who can channel and urges caution.
Shanchan do to women who can channel.
At Turek's court, High Lady Surath presents Egwene as a gift. Two Suldam bring her forward.
I have brought you a gift, my lord.
Upon learning she can channel, Turek has her collared to become a Damane. Powerless to resist, Egwene falls under Shanchan control, marking the beginning of her harsh training.
She has more power than any demonic.
On the other side, Rand plays with Barthanas, weary but unable to rest.
You said I can't sleep with Shufan.
Yes.
Moraine chooses to remain at the manor and forms a daring plan.
Stories from before the breaking of age.
Since Lanfair never harmed him before, Moraine believes her love for Luz Theron lives on in Rand.
You want me to pretend to be in love with a Forsaken?
Trusting Moraine's judgment, Rand lies down and closes his eyes. In Teleran Riot, he awakens bound to a massive stone wheel under a vast sky. Lanfair finally has him.
Finally.
Rand tries to get information from Lanfair about Isharmael, but she stays in control, sharing only what she chooses.
I can't believe I trusted you.
As a gesture of trust, she frees him.
Do you think that protects them?
Lanfair explains that while Rand distanced himself from his friends, Isharmael has been twisting them to use against him.
Tell me what he's planning.
She offers to help Rand but sets one rule.
If you actually want to work with me.
He must stay away from Moraine or she'll kill her. When Rand wakes, he tells Moraine about the deal.
Away from you, that was her condition.
Knowing Lanfair's threat is real, Rand decides to leave Moraine behind, hoping to protect her by keeping his distance. Meanwhile, Egwene is chained and thrown into a cell by Rena, her Suldam, who is determined to break her completely. Egwene quickly learns painful lessons about being a Damane. When Rena feels pain, Egwene feels it twice as much, and she cannot remove the Adam collar herself.
I am Rena.
Rena demands Egwene say her name,
I have to hurt you until you tell me.
punishing her with increasing pain until she finally gives in. Though Rena leaves her name intact as a sign of trust. As a final test, Rena hangs the bracelet on the wall and leaves the cell. When Egwene attempts to grab it, she is violently shocked through the collar, proving the power of her captivity and showing how tightly controlled she now is. Mat and Min reach Carrion, following Isharmael's orders. Min feels uneasy about deceiving him. Elsewhere, Nynaeve and Elaine hide in Fam, trying to avoid the Shanchan army while planning to rescue their friends.
I can hear you two bickering from the foot.
They found refuge with Rima, a yellow Aja, who's investigating the situation with several other Aes Sedai. The girls hesitate to trust her after Leandrin's betrayal, but eventually confess everything,
Tell that to Leandrin.
including Leandrin's secret ties to the Black Aja. Rima listens carefully and helps them despite the danger.
Then all of our sisters are in grave danger.
Speaking of Leandrin, as she visits her dying son, receives a visit from Lanfair.
How did you?
I visited your dream.
Lanfair questions why Leandrin serves Isharmael despite her hatred for men, except her son. It's revealed that Leandrin joined the Dark One and the Black Aja to save her son. We learn of Leandrin's painful past. Abused as a child, sold into an arranged marriage.
He's holding you back.
Lanfair, understanding her pain, kills her son to end their suffering, reminding Leandrin she cannot break her dark oaths. In Fam, Loyal the Ogier is forced to serve the Shanchan,
Mine is higher than Turok. Sing!
made to sing for Lady Surath and her guests, despite tree singing being sacred, not entertainment. As he sings, a plant grows before their eyes, and the nobles applaud as if it were a performance. Embarrassed, Loyal quickly withdraws. Meanwhile, Ainter listens for any news of the Horn of Valir and Egwene.
What did you find out?
Though he believes rescuing Egwene is a lost cause, Loyal insists they must try. He holds to the hope that she is strong enough to survive and can still be saved from the Shanchan kennels. Indeed, Egwene remains mentally strong despite her suffering. In a moment of desperate hope, she imagines attacking Rena during her next visit. She plans to strike with a water jug, but when she reaches for it, she's frozen in place and racked with pain.
Any object she believes to be a weapon.
The collar punishes her for seeing the jug as a weapon. She realizes even pretending to obey won't help, her thoughts and intentions are visible to the Adam. Until she truly surrenders and sees herself as nothing more than a demone,
We will do no more training until
she will continue to be starved, beaten, and broken.
you're strong.
Still, Egwene doesn't give up. In pain and tears, she looks out the window at a tree, holding on to hope. She's not alone. Other demone suffer nearby. In a dream, Min is ordered by Ishamael to reunite Mat and Rand. He promises it's the last task before lifting her curse.
Do this last thing.
Though he secretly hopes her vision of Mat killing Rand comes true. Lan travels with Alana and her warders Ivan and Maxim,
This is a temple to the Forsaken.
resting at an old forsaken temple on their way back to the White Tower. Lan claims he needs permission to return, since he and Moraine were banned. That night, he tries to sneak off alone but is stopped by Ivan and Maxim,
It's rude to leave while your friends are sleeping.
who found a poem about Lanfair and his belongings and accuse him of being a dark friend.
But if you are dark friends,
Alana binds him with the One Power and questions him. She realizes he lied about needing permission. Pressed for answers, Lan finally confesses that he and Moraine have discovered the identity of the Dragon Reborn.
we found the Dragon Reborn.
Speaking of the Dragon Reborn, Rand is alone, haunted by nightmares. Ishamael appears, warning him of the madness that awaits men who channel, and the danger he poses to his friends. Lanfair intervenes, dismisses Ishamael, and introduces Rand to Telerin Riot, the world of dreams.
See anyone you want.
She offers to show him anyone, and Rand asks to see Egwene. Lanfair takes him to Fam,
Anyone?
where he sees Egwene imprisoned by the Shanshan.
Egwene?
Before he can speak, the vision ends. Confused and believing Egwene should be at the White Tower, Rand pleads for answers.
Is she supposed to be at the White Tower? Tell me!
Lanfair reveals Ishamael has her.
I told you he'd get them.
Desperate to save Egwene, Rand agrees to do whatever it takes. Egwene wakes in the kennels, confused and shaken after seeing what felt like Rand. She questions if it was real or if she's losing her mind. From the next room, she hears a woman's voice.
Do you know where we are?
Hoping to connect, she tries to speak, but the woman only repeats the harsh rules of the Adam, offering no real reply. Meanwhile, Rima wants Nynaeve and Elaine to return to the White Tower and warn Swan Sanche, but they refuse without Egwene.
They're leaving this city until Egwene is with us.
Rima shows them a Shanshan collar and Adam, but doesn't know how it works.
We have to work out how to open this.
Understanding it is key to saving Egwene. At Damodred Manor, a music box plays as Lady Moraine struggles to write a letter. Her nephew, Barthanas, brings her food and offers kindness, but she ignores him.
It's just a little bite.
His mother, Anver, watches from the shadows, disapproving.
I'm sorry for intruding.
Embarrassed, Barthanas leaves.
It's worth a try, though.
Anver confronts Moraine, urging her to act like a human for once. Moraine coldly ignores her. When Anver tries to force her out,
I want you out of this house.
Moraine threatens to invoke her right as Damodred heir to take the house.
You are mother, through and through.
Anver scoffs, remarking how much she's like their mother. Moraine continues composing her letter to Swan, explaining her inability to channel. At night, Lan halts Swan's carriage, informing her about Moraine's situation and the challenges she's facing. Rand returns to Logain at the Carrion Sanitarium, seeking to learn what Logain knows of the One Power. Logain advises Rand to embrace his power fully, but Rand overextends, pushing himself to the point of sickness.
You're surrendering, Tweed boy.
However, Logain is impressed by the sheer amount of power Rand possesses. With such strength, Rand can achieve anything and defeat any foe.
Fight anyone.
After leaving the sanitarium, Rand runs into Mat and Carrion Foregate, where Mat is gambling on the streets. Both are stunned by the sight of each other. Mat comments on Rand's shaved hair and asks about Perrin and Egwene, but Rand struggles to explain.
And where is your hair, mate?
They decide to grab a drink and catch up.
It is on you, given that you bollocksed up my roll.
At Rima's attic, the Adam is identified as a Turing Grial, similar to the Arches. Rima explains the Cincian's world-conquering intentions and reveals that some of her Aes Sedai sisters were captured or killed in the process.
2 were killed.
One of the captives is not only Aes Sedai but also a Blue Aja sitter. Meanwhile, Egwene's harsh training continues as she still cannot touch the water jar without thinking of using it against Rena. Rena shares surprising information that the Adam was actually made by an Aes Sedai, which Egwene struggles to accept.
I hope they told you at your white...
Under strict guidance, Egwene is taught to channel and creates fire from steam in a tree's roots outside the cell.
Look to the tree, Egwene. Now keep going. Against the steam.
This small success gives her a short break from the constant suffering. However, Egwene continues to see the jar as a weapon and is unable to move it. Frustrated by Egwene's slow progress, Rhaena lashes out and leaves in anger. Nynaeve wants Elaine to report to the Amyrlin seat about Liandrin, but Elaine refuses, choosing to stay until they find Egwene. Rand explains to Mat that he faked his death to protect his friends, but Mat disagrees, believing they're stronger together.
We're not better off without you, Rand.
Rand wants to save Egwene from Fom but fears it's part of Ishamael's plan.
You don't have to come with me.
Despite Rand's hesitation, Mat insists on rescuing Egwene and goes to inform Min before they leave. As Mat meets Min, she's already drowning in drinks, overwhelmed by guilt over her role in his life. When Mat tells her he found Rand, Min isn't surprised, she already knew. She confesses that her vision showed Mat killing Rand and hoped to keep them apart.
You killed Rand.
Mat feels betrayed and disappointed by Min, though he understands her reasoning. Still, Min urges him to stay away for Rand's sake. Confused and upset,
I am, that's why I'm telling you.
Mat storms out of the room. At Damodred Manor, Moraine sends a letter to Aes Sedai via Jonas, then apologizes to Barthanas for being a cold aunt and guest.
Barthanas, I owe you an apology.
Just then, Anver informs them that the Amyrlin seat has arrived in Carrion with 14 Aes Sedai, requesting to see Moraine.
The Amyrlin seat is here.
The last time the Amyrlin brought 14 Aes Sedai to Carrion, a new king rose. Now people wonder what her true goal is this time. Mat decides against joining Rand, though he sees him waiting. Rand almost leaves alone but is stopped by Lan, Alana, and her warders as Lan insists Rand can't leave the city.
I can't let you leave.
Egwene's badly hurt but still resists Rhaena's attempts to break her. Meanwhile, Nynaeve, Elaine, and Rhaima use the One Power on the Adam. Nynaeve channels too much power, sensing it needs to be healed but must be placed on a woman.
It can't be broken.
A Shanshan Damane senses the channeling and locates them.
Rhaima Sedai, no.
When the Shanshan arrive, Rhaima insists the younger women stay hidden to save Egwene. Rhaima trusts Nynaeve with her ring, a favor Nynaeve hesitantly accepts. Rhaena returns to Egwene's cell. However, Egwene still cannot touch the jar as she views it as a weapon, triggering the collar's punishment and causing her more pain. Rhaima decides to sacrifice herself, exposing herself to the Shanshan. She and her warder, Bazin, try to resist and they take down several soldiers. Meanwhile, Rhaena pushes Egwene to the brink of death, nearly choking her with the Adam as she demands water. In a tragic turn, Rhaima and Bazin fight fiercely but are defeated. Bazin is killed and Rhaima, filled with rage, takes down several Saldam before being collared and captured. Nynaeve and Elaine can only watch in horror as Rhaima screams in pain, witnessing her warder's death. Egwene finally gives in, pouring the water and accepting her fate as a Damane. Rhaena dismisses her, leaving the room after spilling the cup. Once alone, Egwene collapses, drinking the water desperately as she sobs uncontrollably. In the next cell, a woman in a Damane dress, Megan, an Aes Sedai and former Blue Aja sitter, quietly praises Egwene for resisting longer than she did. 20 years earlier in the White Tower, bells rang and people cheered as the Aiel War ended. A young Moraine and Swan, secretly in love and dreaming of a future together, walked through the halls with joy. They entered Jitara Moroso's room to deliver news from the Amyrlin seat about the end of the Aiel War. Jitara, an old blind woman, suddenly has a powerful vision of Tigraine Mantir giving birth during battle. She declares the dragon has been reborn and urges Moraine and Swan to keep it secret, find the boy, and ready the world. As Tigraine dies, Jitara also passes, pushing the two women toward their lifelong mission. In present-day Carrion at the Sun Palace, Swan waits with Lean Sharif and tower guards as Moraine enters.
Beaver's daughter.
Left alone, Swan expresses her disappointment over Moraine's silence about being stilled, despite months of letters.
But what else did that do?
She demands answers about the dragon reborn and Moraine's attempt to break her bond with Lan. Swan declares she will now share the burden Moraine carried alone for years. Meanwhile, Lan and Rand wait outside.
What does the Amyrlin seat want from me?
Rand is nervous about meeting the Amyrlin, but Lan offers reassurance and advice before sending him in.
If the Amyrlin's afraid of you.
Rand refuses to surrender his sword, but Lan tells him not to fear the Amyrlin. She's a peaceful woman and not afraid of him either.
The Amyrlin waits.
With that, Lan allows Rand to keep his sword and go inside. Seated on her throne, the Amyrlin waits as Rand enters. Once they're alone, she asks how much he has learned from Lan over time. But it's clear she has questions of her own, and she intends to get answers.
I have questions for you.
Elsewhere, after abandoning Rand and Carrion out of fear of Min's vision, Matt wakes after being knocked out by a stranger.
Welcome to farm.
He finds himself locked in a room by Lonfair, one of the Forsaken. After she leaves, Matt opens the doors across from where she exited. Stepping out, he discovers he's high above the Aerith Ocean, looking over the coastal city of Fom. Meanwhile, Nynaeve and Elaine search Fom's streets for a way to rescue Egwene, with Elaine now taking the lead.
Come on, those soldiers will be heading.
Elsewhere, the Demane begin the next stage of training, testing the limits of their control under their Suldam. Rena is assigned to test Egwene's strength, masking her threats behind a calm facade while pressuring her to obey.
You'll regret it.
In the Sun Palace courtyard, Yasika quietly hands Varen and Tomas an ogre map of the city in secret.
An ogre map of the city?
While watching from afar, Maxim admits he doesn't trust Varen Sedai, even if Lan does. He suggests following Tomas while Ivan watches Leandrin.
I'm more concerned about Leandrin.
At House Damodred, Lady Anver welcomes Leandrin Aes Sedai warmly, even though her arrival is unexpected. Lan speaks with Moraine, who is upset that he told Swan about her being stilled.
Hopefully everything we've lost.
Lan questions if Moraine ever thought of ending her life, since that's common for others who lost the One Power. Moraine says no because Rand's safety was all she cared about.
More than me, more than you.
She worries Lan's honesty risks everything, but Lan asks her to trust someone.
You can't do this by yourself.
Meanwhile, Swan questions Rand, wanting to know how often he has channeled and how much he understands about it.
What kind of choice is that?
She explains that White Tower law says the Emerlin must cage the Dragon Reborn,
We are meant to cage you.
using him as a tool for the last battle. Rand tries to fight back with the One Power, but Swan easily defeats him.
I won't live in your cage.
She is disappointed, seeing how little Rand has learned during his 6 months away.
I can handle you like bait fish.
In Fom, the Suldam Sita demonstrates her Demane's power,
Rena.
releasing a powerful blast to Mulian's pleasure. Now it's Rena's turn to showcase Egwene's abilities. She commands a simple weave, an explosion of air, to test Egwene's limits. At Rena's chant, Egwene unleashes a massive blast of air, knocking back the Suldam and Demane, with the shockwave reverberating throughout the city of Fom. Having witnessed the shockwave, Loyal moves along in the city while children mock him. Suddenly, Elaine and Nynaeve pull him into hiding. Loyal warmly hugs Nynaeve and respectfully bows to Princess Elaine, sharing news about Egwene's location. They promise to free him too, adding to their difficult tasks.
Got you out too.
Loyal leaves quietly. In the meantime, Matt wakes up and sees Isharmael cutting herbs into a teapot. Isharmael offers him a tea that would reveal his past lives.
And what makes you think I'll take anything that you give?
Matt refuses, but Isharmael flips an hourglass, giving him 15 minutes to decide.
15 minutes, no more.
Isharmael leaves and Matt sits, nervously staring at the teapot. In Toman Head, Avienda, Perrin, and Hopper travel across the desert. Perrin spots a woman, Bane, hidden in the sand. She greets Avienda using hand signs, leading them to a burial mound where another woman, Kayad, waits. Avienda signs something to them, and Bane and Kayad nod before disarming. Confused, Perrin watches as Avienda peacefully offers herself, and Bane and Kayad begin beating her. Hopper growls and Perrin almost intervenes but is warned to stay back. After a harsh beating, Avienda lies bloodied on the ground, while Bane and Kayad stand quietly over her. After 15 minutes, Matt gives in and drinks the tea Isharmael prepared. At first, nothing happens and Matt relaxes. But as he stands, he begins to feel strange. Suddenly, he sees visions. His mother, Nadi, appears. He hallucinates himself being hanged, committing murder, and witnessing violence. In a mirror, he watches only for the killer to transform into Matt himself, trapped in a terrifying cycle of madness and horror. At the Sun Palace, Moraine urges Swan to release Rand, but Swan refuses, accusing Moraine of failing to prepare Rand adequately. She orders that he remain shielded under Aes Sedai guard. Tomorrow, when Queen Galdrian returns, Swan plans to announce Rand as the dragon in Carrion, flanked by 14 sisters to show he is under their control. Meanwhile, Lean quietly maintains Rand's shield as Moraine and Rand speak alone.
What is happening to me?
Rand shares that the Forsaken are trying to lure him to Fom. Moraine admits he must declare himself there according to prophecy. They realize for now their goal matches the Forsaken's more than the Ice Dies.
Ballad across the sky and...
At House Damodred, Barthanas orders his mother away during a meeting with Leandrin.
Leave us, mother.
He and Leandrin talk about their orders from Isharmael to kill Moraine and anyone who stands in the way, even Anver. Leandrin leaves calmly.
And if your mother suspects anything?
Hidden in the cellar, Anver listens through a vent, horrified by what she hears. In Fam, Isharmael holds a broken mat in his lap, gently stroking his cheek. Matt babbles helplessly while Isharmael speaks softly,
We just come back.
claiming he only wishes to escape the endless suffering the wheel forces on them both. Later, Rand sleeps and appears in Tel Aran Riot in the Dreaming, where Lanfair waits on her throne in the desert. Rand approaches and asks for her help.
I need your help.
Lanfair agrees. In the real world, fire explosions rock the Foregate as Lanfair calmly heads for the city gates, while crowds flee in fear. At the sanitarium, Alana and Lon meet Ivan outside the gardens. They quietly discuss an important clue they are preparing to reveal, careful not to draw attention. Lon meets with Logain, offering a key in exchange for answers about Moraine's inability to use the One Power. Logain explains that male weaves, tied off like a knot, surround her. Lon refuses to leave the key with him, remembering Logain killed an Aes Sedai before. He says Logain can have it once he's back at the White Tower.
There's a fire.
Meanwhile, Alana and Ivan arrive with urgent news. Fire has broken out at the Foregate, demanding immediate attention. Indeed, Lanfair burns everything down to help Rand. Perrin, Hopper, Avienda, Bane, and Kayad travel across Tomon Head. Avienda explains she accepted a beating to restore her honor. Perrin asks about Aiel life, while Avienda asks about his wetlander ways. They finally reach a ledge and see the city of Fam by the Aerith Ocean. In Fam, Nynaeve wears the Adam, attacks the Suldam, puts the collar on her, and Elaine knocks her out. In Egwene's cell in the kennels,
Realized why you fight me.
Rena speaks of the Cinchians' plan to unite the world under the light for the last battle.
The last battle is coming.
Despite everything, Egwene's spirit remains unbroken, and she silently vows to kill Rena when she can.
I will kill you.
Seeing Egwene's defiance, Rena's face hardens. She drops the sponge, leaves without a word, and Egwene quietly continues braiding her hair. In the Sun Palace cells, Barthanas enters, believing Moraine sedated, only to find himself trapped.
Why?
Anver, having overheard her son talk with Leandrin, realized he was a dark friend. Barthanas begs for her understanding, claiming their family's fame rests on his actions. Ignoring him, Anver walks away as guards arrive to arrest him. Meanwhile, Varen enters Rand's cell and persuades Lean to let her take over shielding him. Once alone, Varen releases the shield, freeing Rand and allowing Moraine to escape.
Carrion family's built right over it.
Using an ogre map of Carrion, Varen guides Rand, Moraine, and Lon to a hidden waygate. She remains behind with Alana and her warders to cover their departure. The Emerlin links with several Aes Sedai, using the One Power to call rain and help put out the Foregate fires.
Think with me.
As they work, Lean shows up to assist.
Sedai.
Swan quickly realizes Rand is escaping and rushes away. Moraine, Lon, and Rand reach an empty part of Carrion and find the waygate. Moraine tells Rand to open it using the One Power, but Lon stops him and tells him to look closer. Rand sees a knot tied around Moraine, proof she is shielded, not stilled. Lon explains a Forsaken trick can tie weaves like that.
I trust you.
Rand carefully cuts through the knot, freeing Moraine's power.
I am sorry it took me so long to do my duty.
She opens the waygate just as Swan arrives, furious at the mistaken belief that Moraine lied about being stilled. Swan shields Rand again and uses the oath Moraine once swore on the oath rod to force her to close the waygate. But Rand and Moraine have formed a dangerous alliance with Lanfair, who appears just in time to attack Swan and free Rand. Though Rand stops Lanfair from killing Swan and Moraine, they leave Swan behind Bracken and step through the waygate, Moraine casting one last longing glance at the woman she loves. Meanwhile, 3,000 years ago, at the site now known as the Eye of the World, male channelers encircle Isharmael. Luz Theron assures him that the rest of the Forsaken, including Moghedien and Samel, have already been captured. Ignoring Isharmael's plea for death, Luz Theron orders the sealing, leaving behind only Quendalar marked with the Aes Sedai symbol. In the present day at the White Cloak camp on Tomon Head, the White Cloaks prepare to fight the Shanshan. Dane Bornhald stays with his father, Geoffram Bornhald, insisting that the strangers are slavers and murderers who must be opposed. They say the dragon will return in Fam's greatest moment of need, but Geoffram does not believe in prophecies.
Prophecies are just the lies of long dead.
Lanfair leads Rand, Moraine, and Lon through the ways, opens the way gate, and abruptly blasts Moraine and Lon onto a beach. Lanfair had told Moraine to raise the banner when the time comes, though they wonder where they are.
Open it!
In the ways, Rand pleads with Lanfair to let them inside, but she ignores him, claiming faster ways to Fom. Distrustful, Rand listens as Lanfair insists she cares for him, not just his power. Outside Fom, Perrin and his team approach the gates. Kayad notices an unusual white fog to the east. Perrin halts, commanding Hopper to stay, then moves on toward Fom. Isharmail, overlooking the city, returns to find Lanfair on his bed.
What are you doing here?
Lanfair reveals she brought Rand to Fom with her. Isharmail is surprised, warning they aren't prepared yet. Despite his fears, Lanfair assures him they're ready and Rand will choose the dark side this time.
Because you know you need me.
She knows Isharmail needs her for balance. They sit together, facing the 6 seals of the other Forsaken. In the fog outside Fom, young boys and children of the light clothing swing lanterns, creating the thick mist. White-cloaked cavalry bursts through the fog, charging toward the tower. Meanwhile, Nynaeve, disguised as a Shanshan Suldam, assumes control using an Adam, preparing to rescue Egwene from the kennels. Rena prepares Egwene for battle.
Mane disobeys orders in battle. Stand!
Warning her the city is under attack and listing brutal punishments for disobedience. When Egwene remains defiant, Rena tries to cut out her tongue, cruelly cuts off her braid, but she still looks defiant. Paden Fane joins Isharmail, who explains Lanfair's betrayal. Fane confirms she has eternal life, but it's not his concern.
Turns to the dark. I may have to wait until his next life.
Isharmail fears Rand's allegiance and tasks Fane to convince Mat to kill him, as Min's vision foretold, glancing at Fane's ruby-hilted dagger. Paden Fane joins Mat, exposing the dagger. Mat looks at it wearily.
Where would they have taken Egwene?
Meanwhile, Nynaeve uses the Adam to interrogate the captured Suldam, Sita. Kneeling in pain, the woman begs for freedom, terrified of others seeing her collared. Shanshan guards move along a wall for battle, while Rand peeks out and spots Egwene among them. On the other side, Mat sits, staring at the dagger, hearing whispers in his mind. Paden Fane tries to persuade him to join the dark, leaving the dagger on the table. Fane exits, whistling and locking the door. Once alone, Mat drops his act, struggling against the urge to take the dagger. On the beach outside Fom,
We're going to talk about it.
Lon wants to rebond with Moraine, despite her hesitation. He has forgiven her harsh words, but Moraine admits they were true as she believes he's better than her.
You have always been my better.
Moraine channels, weaving the one power around them. As the energy connects them, they open their eyes, feeling the bond take effect between them. In the streets of Fom, people flee from the chaos. Perrin and his group reunite with Loyal, Inkter, and Missima, who recovered the Horn of Valir from the Shanshan. Inkter wants to protect it, but Loyal urges them to be heroes and save their friends. Perrin asks about Egwene's whereabouts. The Suldam and Damane are positioned on the tower. Egwene hesitates but channels a powerful fireball when she sees the White Cloaks attacking. High Lord Turek orders his army to find the horn but is confronted by Rand. They forget that they are no match for the dragon. Rand channels, using the one power, killing Turek and his soldiers. The voice also stabs himself, swearing to serve his master until death. Perrin's group walks through the streets but is stopped by Bane. Shanshan soldiers surround them. Inkter fights bravely but ultimately loses his life in the battle. The others escape with the horn while Shanshan soldiers chase after them. Moraine and Lon continue their journey along the beach, discussing Luz Theron's past relationships with Isharmail and Lanfair. They worry that Rand might repeat history with his own circle. Ahead, a city with a tall stone tower comes into view. Moraine notices that it's Fom. Lanfair approaches Bel Doman at an abandoned merchant's table, offering him more Quendalar in exchange for taking the Forsaken seals and sinking them into the sea. Despite hesitation, Doman agrees, lured by the generous payment, and sets off to carry out the task. High Lady Sarath tells Isharmail about Turek's death and the stolen horn.
Our people, now that Turok is dead.
He orders her to sail offshore, await instructions, and prepare to gentle a male channeler while he deals with the situation himself. Meanwhile, trapped in the room, Mat searches for a way out. He attaches the dagger to the end of a broad staff, careful not to touch it, then uses his makeshift spear to burn through the door's lock.
The thing is,
Despite Peyton Fane guarding the door, Matt escapes with Shanshan guards in hot pursuit. Amid the chaos across the city, Egwene, hurt by the devastation, refuses to obey orders. Nynaeve, Elaine, and Sita move through Fam's chaotic streets toward the tower. Just as Rena prepares to punish Egwene, a crashing boulder slams into the tower, throwing the Suldam and Damane off balance. That gave the White Cloak space to attack the Shanshan mercilessly. Sita is shot dead instantly and Elaine is hit in the thigh, overwhelming Nynaeve. Atop the tower, the Suldam and their Damane lie dead. Egwene wakes nearby as Megan's collar falls away, and Rena rises, scowling as she approaches Egwene. Perrin's group moves through Fam streets and Matt suddenly runs into them, chased by Shanshan soldiers. The Aiel bravely fight back, holding their ground. Rena blames Egwene for the explosion and begins torturing her. Egwene secretly places an unlocked Adam on Rena's neck, revealing that Suldam can sense the One Power too. She forces Rena to feel the same pain, lifting her against a stone wall by her collar. Though Egwene winces from the shared pain, she holds strong until she removes her own cuff. Her collar falls away as Rena continues to choke. She stands tall and watches coldly, unmoved by Rena's suffering as the Suldam struggles for breath. Egwene keeps her promise to Rena of killing her, then stumbles away, falling to her knees among the ruins. Breathing heavily, she sits in the wreckage, lost in thought. Suddenly, she hears Rand's voice and turns, confused. As fighting rages, Perrin, Loyal, and Matt move toward the tower. Matt explains Rand is there and they must deliver the horn, but the box stubbornly remains shut. At the top of the tower, Rand kneels beside Egwene, regretful for his past mistakes. Before he can help her escape, Isharmael appears, knocking Egwene out when she tries to channel. Meanwhile, on a Shanshan ship, Surath and Alwyn watch as the One Power rises, shielding Rand.
Then we gentle him.
Isharmael tempts Rand to join the dark, but Rand stands firm with the light. Matt cuts open the chest, seizes the Horn of Valir, and runs to find Rand, while the others fight Shanshan soldiers, giving him a chance to escape. On the other side, Nynaeve struggles to heal Elaine's wound without the One Power as fighting and chaos fill the city streets around them. Perrin charges through the battle and faces Aemon Valda, who attacks him. Hopper, linked to Perrin, rushes to save him but is struck by Geofram's axe. As Valda leaves with Geofram, Perrin watches Hopper's dying moments, then picks up his axe and heads after the White Cloaks, filled with rage. Perrin strikes Geofram, burying his axe in his chest. Meanwhile, in desperation, Matt blows the Horn of Valir, summoning ancient heroes bound to it after encountering another group of Shanshan soldiers on his way to Rand. In that moment, Matt remembers his past life as a hero. The heroes, including Artur Hawkwing, Amarisu, and even Uno who had died earlier, appear. Together, they face the Shanshan, their unbeatable abilities overwhelming the enemy with swift and powerful combat. Perrin strikes Geofram again. Dane charges but Loyal pulls Perrin back. Uno emerges from the mist, saving Perrin and handing him a shield. Perrin runs for the tower to help Rand. Nynaeve uses her wisdom skills to pull out the arrow and tries to help Elaine. Worried she cannot heal her alone, she carries Elaine toward Egwene for help. Atop the tower, Isharmael looks down at Rand.
I will never serve him.
Time is running out, but Rand still refuses to serve the Dark One as he has in 1,000 lives before. Matt arrives and throws the dagger, but Isharmael's illusion tricks him. The blade strikes Rand instead, fulfilling Min's vision. Egwene rises, confronting Isharmael with the One Power. She channels a massive shield as Isharmael blasts her, while Matt holds wounded Rand. On the beach, Moraine and Lon spot the ships shielding Rand. Moraine realizes they must destroy the ships. Before they can act, the Shanshan attack. Lon defends Moraine as she begins to channel, preparing to confront the Shanshan threat. Isharmael keeps attacking Egwene's shield as Perrin arrives with Uno's shield, assisting her. Nynaeve and Elaine come next, with Elaine healing Rand's wound. Despite their efforts, Rand remains shielded and unable to act. Moiraine launches powerful weaves at the Shan-Shan ships, destroying them and sending them into the water. This frees Rand from the Demane's shield, allowing him to regain control. Rand uses the One Power and his heron-marked sword to kill Isharmael, burning a heron into his palm as the blade disintegrates. Isharmael dies, turning to dust and crumbling away.
What do you see?
Moiraine destroys the Shan-Shan ships, sending them into the sea, and uses the One Power to form a dragon of fire in the sky. This fulfills the prophecy, declaring Rand the Dragon Reborn. The people celebrate while the Aiel whisper Kare Karn.
Kare Karn.
The heroes of the Horn vanish into mist. Massima, Lanfair, and Loyal watch from the streets as the dragon roars and disappears. Later, Lanfair discovers that Isharmael has freed all the Forsaken. She meets Moghedien, who accuses her of being too close to Rand and warns her to stay away. Moghedien claims that all 5 Forsaken belong to the others, leaving Lanfair worried about Rand's future and her place among them.
I'd help you run.
Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and let us know where you're watching from in the comments section. Your support is greatly appreciated, my dear friend. Feel free to click on the next video. Thank you.